wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I...
Do you have questions about starting a trucking business? Box truck or CDL, I've done both. I can help you start your trucking business or grow your business so that you can buy more trucks. Use the link in the description to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. Now let's get to the video. Hey, this is Zach Pasquarello. Good, how are you? Yeah, absolutely. What do you have going on? How can you go about getting a loan? So the way I did it is I got a loan through a local bank, and a lot of it largely depends on your credit score and your tax return. So as long as your credit score is above 700 and as long as you have reasonably strong tax returns for like the past 2 or 3 years, then you should be able to get a loan. Basically, the loan officer wants to see, can this person make money? Because you're starting a new business, so your business doesn't have any tax returns. But from what I understand, from a risk perspective for loan officers, if they can see that you as an individual have made a lot of money in previous years, then they assume, generally speaking, you're hardworking, you're going to be able to make money, you're going to be successful. So they're much more willing to loan you money if you have tax returns where your job, you made $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year in the past 2 or 3 years. What are the terms again? You said 8% interest. For how much? $60,000? Is it a cash loan, or are they gonna pay for the truck over what, 5 years? So that's an okay loan to start. I got my first box truck back in 2021, but I got it for $30,000. So it was a lot cheaper, but I was able to get an interest rate of 5% from my bank, and basically the truck was collateral. So they were a lien holder on the title of the truck, the bank, and I got 5%. So what you can do is, with that loan from USAA, get fully approved, get the loan, $60,000, 8% interest, and then shop around. So go to a local credit union, go to a small bank. Usually I've had more success getting loans with like the small banks because they're more open to working with small business owners in my experience. So take that loan and go to a local credit union, go to a small bank and say, hey, look, this bank already gave me this loan at this % interest rate. I was hoping to maybe switch my accounts over to your bank, kind of earn your business. Do you think you'd be able to do a little bit better than that loan? Yeah, if I were you, just do a quick Google search, or ask your friends, ask other business owners in your town. Just do a quick Google search, top 10 banks in Pittsburgh for small business owners, and I'm sure you'll at least get a good list to start with. And then just reach out. Maybe if you reach out to 10 banks, maybe only 3 or 4 of them will actually get back to you, and then just go from there. Are they gonna find your driver for you? And you said $1,600 to get started and then $900 every month after? It just sounds to me like they're not even really... What's the name of the company? So they're just a payroll company. Yeah, so what they're offering doesn't sound like it's worth it. So it sounds like they're just a payroll company, like maybe offering a couple extra HR services like job postings, but you can do all that yourself. Like you can go straight to Indeed.com and you can make a job posting yourself, and it's essentially free. You can maybe pay a couple $100s for advertising, but you can make a free job posting on Indeed. And if they're just a payroll company, like, yeah, you're gonna need to hire a payroll company once you've already hired a driver, but it should not cost $900 a month. It should not cost $1,600 to get started. Like that just sounds way too that sounds like way too much money. If I were you, I would at least try to do it on your own first. Make a free job posting on Indeed. I don't know if you're on Facebook, but there's a bunch of groups, like a bunch of Facebook groups that you can get into, and you could try to find drivers that way. You can just post into like your local Facebook network. But yeah, no, that sounds like, and from a compliance perspective, they're probably not going to help you with actual like DOT compliance. Like that's a whole separate thing from HR compliance. But there's not really a whole lot you need. I mean, you need to file your payroll taxes, and you need to give your employee a W-2. But like apart from that, there's not really a whole lot else you need. So I would not do that if I were you. I would just try to find a driver on my own first, and then you could get away with just paying your driver as a 1099 contractor for the first couple months while you're getting started. Like you don't even necessarily need to have a payroll company. It's a huge gray area whether or not a driver should be a full-time employee or a 1099 contractor. I've seen very large companies do it both ways, but you could get away with, at least while you're starting out, like you could really save yourself some money, and you could just hire someone as an independent contractor just on like a trial run basis, just to see if it works for both of you. Because if you get a payroll company set up and you start paying workers' comp insurance and you start paying payroll tax and you get just onboarded with a payroll company, everything just becomes a little bit more complicated, a little bit more expensive. Yeah, so you have a couple options. I mean, you could write up a contract. You should write up a contract, just outline all the rules and expectations, and inside of that contract, you'll have payment agreements. I'm gonna agree to pay you, $1,500 per week for the next 2 months, or for the next 6 months. So in that contract, you can have payment agreements, and then also if this guy works for you for an entire year, you're gonna give him a 1099. So in that 1099 is essentially going to be proof of income so that he can get a loan. But there are ways around, getting a loan, because there are a bunch of small business owners, there are a bunch of 1099 contractors who don't necessarily have pay stubs, but they can still get a loan because they still have income. You can just, you as the business owner, you can just generate like a contract or just like some sort of document saying, yeah, this guy is working for me and I'm paying him X amount every single week. When is the best time to buy a box truck is a really difficult question to answer because it's impossible to predict the future. That's like asking someone, when's the best time to buy Amazon stock? No one really knows the answer. No one can predict what's going to happen in 6 months. So what I would tell you is it doesn't matter when you buy the box truck. That's out of your control. Picking the perfect time is out of your control. There's a bunch of other things you can do to make sure you get the right box truck. That's way more important than picking the perfect time to buy a box truck. So for example, get a diesel mechanic to properly inspect the truck before you actually buy it. Like that's a good example of something that you can do before you buy the truck to make sure you're getting the right truck, not necessarily the perfect timing. But if I were you, if you're ready to get into this business right now, if you've looked at all the numbers, you said you've done your research, I wouldn't wait any longer because the price of trucks might actually go up. No one knows what's going to happen to the price of trucks. So as soon as you're ready to get a truck, pick one out that fits your, how much you want to pay for it, the year you want, how many miles you want, the size of the truck. Pick one out, have a diesel mechanic inspect it, do all your proper due diligence before you buy the truck, and then just start your business. Don't wait any longer than you have to. Yeah, so you can do 3 things to try to find a truck. You can go to commercialtrucktrader.com. You can go to truckpaper.com. Those are 2 really good websites that I look at all the time. And then you can also truckpaper.com. And then also don't forget about your local dealerships. So go to Google Maps and just look up local dealerships that sell commercial trucks. And if you find a truck, you're in Pennsylvania. So if you find a truck in Florida that is like $5,000 cheaper, you have to weigh the pros and cons of buying a truck that far away. Just because it's $5,000 cheaper, like you said, you won't really be able to properly inspect it before you get it. You're gonna have to pay to transport it 1,000 miles back up to Pennsylvania. So if I were you, I would try to look for a truck close and local first, and then start expanding your radius, start looking at trucks further away if you can't find anything good locally. Because I think there's a lot of value in being able to look at the truck and inspect the truck before you actually buy it, instead of buying something halfway across the country before you even look at it. Yeah, you're definitely going to need to get insurance for your truck. And I actually have an insurance agent who specializes in trucking insurance. And insurance is expensive. Commercial auto insurance is expensive. It's like $1,500 a month. But after this phone call, I can share my insurance agent's information with you. And I don't really know a whole lot about insurance, other than it's just really important to have a good agent. And so he'll be able to help you out with your insurance. I can give you his information. I don't have any business insurance. I just have my commercial vehicle insurance. Because your business is the vehicle, so you don't need to have like general liability business insurance. But if you have employees, you will need to have workers' comp insurance. And you can get workers' comp insurance primarily through payroll companies. Like I know ADP, they offer workers' comp insurance, but that's completely different from like your business insurance. I think you should apply for fuel cards. I think you should get your Easy Pass, and I think you should get your electronic logging device. Those are 3 things that are probably going to take a couple weeks to come in the mail, so you should do those sooner rather than later. Easy Pass, yep, electronic logging device. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with being friendly, but you want to be, there's a classic saying, you want to be firm but fair, especially as a business owner. So just because this is your friend, even if you hire your brother or your mother or your best friend from high school, it doesn't matter who you hire to drive your truck, you still should have a business relationship with that person. So you should have 2 things. You should have just like a general document that has your company policies. And I actually, on my website, harrisburgbookkeeping.com, I actually have a couple documents for sale. I have like an example template of company policies, and it's just very generic stuff. Safety, operations, just like expectations, rules, policies, guidelines. It's just like a 2-page document. So you can look at my document, or you can create your own, but just like have like some sort of document that clearly outlines your company policies and your company rules. Like think about the last job you had, like whenever you onboarded, I'm sure you signed a million different HR documents, like a bunch of rules and guidelines. Like now that you're a business owner, you need to have the same thing. You need to start thinking like the big companies, because you need to protect yourself, you need to protect your business, but you also want to be fair and communicate clearly to your future employees. Like there's nothing more frustrating than a business owner who doesn't even really know what he expects out of his employees. Because if you don't know what you want your employee to do, your employee is going to have no idea what the rules are and what the expectations are. So come up with like a detailed list of company policies and rules, and then also come up with like a very specific contract for your driver. And just have them sign both documents, like a very specific contract, just like the expectations, like what time you're going to show up for work, what are you going to wear, when are you going to take your lunch break, what about vacation, what about sick days. Like you need to think about all this stuff. Yeah, I've got a contract, and I've got the rules and guidelines on my website, harrisburgbookkeeping.com. Yeah, if you ever have like simple questions that I could answer via email, feel free to send me an email. But if you want to like have a longer discussion, then you can use this link that you use to schedule this consultation. You can use the same link, and we can just have another 30-minute or 60-minute conversation. I really don't think it matters. Freightliner, Mack, Hino, International, Ford. I don't really think it matters what kind of truck you get. What really matters is that you have it properly inspected by a diesel mechanic, and then what really matters is that you take care of it. So you want to get proper oil changes every month or every 2 months or every 6,000, every 8,000 miles. You just want to, every time you take it to the mechanic, if they tell you to fix something, you want to get it fixed. You want to really coach your driver on how to do a pre-trip and a post-trip inspection. Like this is not something that should just not be done, or just be acting like you're doing it and just fill in the blanks. Like your driver should actually be checking the tires, checking the engine, checking the fluids, testing the lights, testing the wiper blades. Like that stuff should be done every single day. Checking the brakes, checking all the wires. I don't have it on my website, but I do have like a pre-trip and a post-trip inspection checklist that I will share with you after this. Yes, you said you're doing in-home appliance installation, correct? So be very careful with that, because there's a lot of liability when it comes to going into people's houses and installing appliances. I've heard horror stories. Someone installed a washing machine, or someone installed a dishwasher, and they didn't connect the plumbing correctly, and then just the person's entire house flooded because the dishwasher was installed incorrectly. So I don't know what type of appliances you're going to be installing, but it's really important that your guys know how to properly install the appliances. And then so what you can do is you can have, I don't know all the details about this, but I've heard other people doing this. You can have some sort of contract that you have the people's houses. You have these people sign the contract before you go into their house, basically saying that like you're not liable for whatever happens, this and that. I don't know all the details about it, but maybe whenever you go to the warehouse that you're going to be working at, maybe ask them if they have any experience with that. But I recommend just like cover your own, cover your bases before you go into someone's house, because you never know. You could spend $20,000 repairing someone's basement if you flood the whole thing. So just be really careful going into people's houses. The other thing I would say is be prepared to spend $5,000 in the first 2 months to fix your truck. I don't care where you get the truck, unless you're getting a brand new truck. I don't care where you get it or who you get it from. There's gonna be something wrong with it. So just mentally and financially prepared to spend $5,000 to fix it. If it does happen, you're prepared for it. If it doesn't happen, great. At least you have an extra $5,000 sitting around. And then second of all, be prepared to not make any money for the first 6 months in this business. So I know you said you have another full-time job. That's great. Just mentally prepare to not make any money on this business for the first 6 months. That way, if you do make money, great. If you don't make money, at least you're prepared for it. Another thing I'll say is, make sure you're doing your bookkeeping. Obviously, I'm an accountant, so I do bookkeeping and taxes, but make sure you get QuickBooks and make sure you keep up with your bookkeeping. And then also you need to pay quarterly taxes on your business. So, if your business is making $20,000 a year, you're going to have to pay quarterly taxes on that.